Welcome to a special RadioRadioX music video interview. I am your host, Justin Smulison, proud contributor here at RadioRadioX, and I'm delighted to present an interview with Andreas Ballnus. He is the guitarist and creative force behind Philosophobia, and you are hearing a clip of one of the lead singles, King of Fools. This album is wild. It's got so much technical proficiency. It's got melodic singing. It's got a little bit of harsh singing. It's got all kinds of time signature changes and themes that range from socio-political to ecological. There's so much happening. I absolutely loved it. If you're a fan of Dream Theater or Symphony X, you're going to love this album. Andreas is going to talk with me about the making of the album, how much time has elapsed since the last one, and what we can expect from this fantastic European collective of musicians. So much to discuss. Let's get to it. RadioRadioX audiences worldwide, please welcome Andreas Ballnus of Philosophobia.
Actually, it means fear of philosophy.
Fear of philosophy?
Really. I came up with that name a couple of years ago because I liked the sound of it. And it was years later when I found out that there really are people that are afraid of philosophy, and that's the Philosophobia.
Right, which means that they don't want to be deep thinkers.
They don't want to be involved in philosophical discussions, conversations, whatever.
Right.
They're afraid that maybe they don't have anything to contribute. I don't know.
Wow. Okay. Well, it's a great band name, and it certainly evokes a lot of feelings for people in this day and age, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. And so, the Constant Void is your new album. The artwork is tremendous. It's right over there, and that hooked me immediately when I saw that album cover. I said, "Ooh, unless this is like growling death metal, I want to cover this." So thankfully, it's not growling death metal. It's one of my favorite mashups. It's like prog. It's melodic prog power thrash. There's a tiny little bit of thrash in there. It's got all my favorite subgenres.
Yeah.
Are those yours too? You like putting those all together?
Absolutely. I mean, I listen to a big variety of music, starting from thrash metal to prog metal. One of my favorite artists of all time is Bruce Springsteen, for example. I love The Cure. Really, it's a wide field of music that I listen to. And when it comes to writing metal, I like the harsh sides as much as I like the soft sides. So I like to combine that, and I think that's what you hear on the record too.
Oh, without question, this is right up there, in my opinion, with Symphony X, who I hold in the highest regard. So I'm glad that's a compliment for you, because I would think it would be a compliment for any musician. I think they're terrific. So, and this was the first time I heard you, and I was wondering, and I had a chance to listen to the prior album on Bandcamp, not as much as The Constant Void, of course, but it feels like a natural evolution of the sound. So what themes or emotions were you aiming to capture on this record that you weren't able to do on the last one?
Well, let me answer the first part of the question, although I think it was not really a question. But
Okay.
Talking about the evolution of the Philosophobia's music,
Yeah.
we started actually in 2007 already, recording the first demos that most of them ended up on the debut album.
Mm-hmm.
We somehow did not finish it at that point of time because I joined Paul Diano, the ex-Iron Maiden singer, as a guitar player, went on tour with him for a long time, and Alex, the drummer, joined Annihilator, touring with them later on Rhapsody and stuff like that. So we did not have the time to properly finish the debut album. But out of I think 6 or 7 songs were already written and pre-recorded in 2007. So we have 2007, and now The Constant Void was written in 2022. So there were 15 years in between, having new influences, discovering new music yourself, your personal music behavior, songwriting changes. So that was part of the evolution. It's not a big magic thing. It's just 15 years in between the songwriting.
Sure. And the world has obviously changed in 15 years.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so the original question was?
So do you feel that there were themes that you couldn't explore on the first record that you're now doing on the Constant Void? And I would guess that was the whole purpose of making the album anyway.
Yeah, I mean that's it's the same. When I wrote all the songs. I wrote all the songs for the debut album, and now also the songs for the Constant Void. Also all the lyrics. It was not planned like that. It just happened. I mean, for the third album that we're writing right now, all the others are contributing more, which I totally like.
Yeah.
So I'm not that kind of dictator saying I have written all the songs. I want to do that in the future too. It's not like that.
Right.
So, but yeah. I mean, the lyrics from the first record were, the topics that moved me back in the days in 2007. And probably the ones on the Constant Void are, a grown-up adult version of that, because other things are, are of interesting for me and are in my mind all the time, spinning around. Yeah, but basically the main topics are the same. Always, it's both records are not a concept album per se, but there is like a red line going through them.
Sure.
Dealing with the darker sides and parts of human beings and human behavior. And that is what drives me around when I'm thinking, I'm a happy guy, I have a happy life, I have a beautiful life. But that's not what I want to write about.
Right.
So no, we got to write about the darker sides of life.
Right. Well, it's worth drawing attention to because you're very socio and ecologically minded on this album. We're really talking about what the human race is doing to destroy itself and the planet. I mean, that's a lot of it. That's not all of it, but that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when you write, do you write with a theme in mind first? Do you write the lyrics first, or do the lyrics come second?
Sometimes like that, sometimes the other way around. Sometimes I have a drum beat in mind on which I'm building, the instrumental stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I have a guitar melody or a riff, and sometimes I have an idea for lyrics. And depending on how, the mood of the lyrics are, I somehow decide on how to write the songs. But also that is coming out naturally. I'm not sitting down and say, okay, I have to write a music now that's, soaked with minor chords to make it really sad or something like that.
Right.
I don't do that. I just start and then it naturally happens.
Yeah. And you've got, hold on one second. I'm just pulling up some stuff here. I'm just trying to pull up the best bit of information that I've got.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah. Okay, great. You've got a terrific singer, Dominic.
Yeah.
Dominic. How do I pronounce his last name?
That's going to be hard.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Papa Emmanuel.
Oh, wow. Okay. Dominic Papa Emmanuel.
Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah.
What sort of direction do you give him in the way of vocal melodies?
Actually, I don't give him any direction.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah. I know.
It's collaborative.
Yeah, exactly. I give him when we're in the studio, I give him the lyrics. I send it to him before we enter the studio. Dominic lives in Athens in Greece, and the rest of us is living in Germany. Mm-hmm. So we don't have the typical. We meet in the rehearsal room and try out something together. So in the studio, I give him the lyrics. He's read them before, and he knows what it's about. And Dominic and I were just like brothers. We think completely alike. For example, King of Fools. I had in mind that the song starts with really harsh vocals, in your face vocals. And he went into the vocal booth in the studio and started exactly like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, Dominic, I didn't say anything. And he said, but it's the only way to start a song, isn't it?
Right. No,
absolutely.
It's a great really opener.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's really like that with all the others in the band too. When we play concerts or meet for rehearsal once in a while, then it's like this blind understanding. You don't have to talk much. Everybody has the same idea for the music.
Yeah,
and that's really something great to experience.
That's excellent. You're all on the same wavelength, which obviously can make or break a group or an album. And in this case, it made the album, so that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And, it's also worth mentioning. So you've got the Forgotten Part 1 and Forgotten Part 2, roughly 30 minutes combined, right? That's at least half the album right there. What led to those songs being split? We'll start with that. Just didn't want to have a 30-minute song on there?
Yeah, no, I wrote Forgotten Part 1 first. that actually was a song where I had the lyrics in mind first, and then started writing the song. And then I, started writing other songs for the album. And there was this one song that started just with the piano and some vocals, and then it evolved a little bit into harder parts. And that was the beginning of the part 2 song. And then it was like 11 or 12 minutes long. And I was like, okay, but if we go from here to have a reprise from the first part, would fit perfectly here. So and then it naturally evolved. It was not planned to have part 1 and part 2 on the record. Could have been also some 2 songs, or maybe split into 3 or 4. But it makes sense for me to write it like that.
Yeah. And then wedged in between there, that's not the first and the last song, but they're Forgotten Part 1's in the first half. Forgotten Part 2 closes out the album. And in between there, you got a song called Will You Remember, which is kind of like it's one of the singles that you've released, right? And it is one of the more straight ahead sort of rock songs, which is cool. And I found it fascinating that you put that in between those 2 songs. So you're talking about forgetting, and then you're talking about remembering. And that was just that was a smart play.
I mean, the idea behind that is I didn't want to have both forgotten parts coming one after the other, so that it ends up being a 30-minute song. It might get bored. Maybe they won't. I don't know. But the idea was to give the listener some, time to breathe. And we've always been a band, or I have always been a songwriter that likes also the softer and more moody stuff.
Right.
Underneath Grassroots, for example, with just guitar and some keyboards and vocals, that is no drums. That's also some songwriting style that I really, really like. It was really obvious for me from the very beginning that King of Fools has to be the opener. Because that is one really straight in your face song.
Yeah.
And everything else that happened afterwards, just the listener, to give him some time and to breathe in between before the epic long track.
Right. And it's such a catchy song. And when I see you again, will you remember my face? I can see an audience getting behind that as like their power ballad almost.
Yeah, that would be great. I mean, the most important for us is that the song has to be a good song. It does not every song needs to be 8 minutes long and having spectacular technical, musical roller coaster rides on the guitar, playing 8 million notes per second. It's not necessary for every song. And that's how we would like to keep it. Also, the basic idea of writing a song for me is to take other progressive metal bands. For example, the guitar player plays like I said, 8 million notes in a second, and the singer is singing above it. It doesn't make sense to me. So I like to have a clean verse and a clean chorus, and then there is time and space for instrumental madness.
Yeah. Speaking of which, the next song after Will You Remember is F40.8. Now, for those who don't know, that's a code referring to phobic anxiety disorder. Now, now I didn't know that was beyond the U.S. I guess that's an international coding, and it's instrumental. Is Vic Shankar on that one? Yeah. I've interviewed him a couple of times. He's great. He's with Redemption. Yeah, he's great. And so that I thought it was cool that, like we were saying, you have Will You Remember in between the forgotten parts, but then after this slower, more straight ahead rock song, you've got this very wild instrumental. And so that also grabs the attention of the listener. So while you caught your breath and now you're going right back into it.
And then you're getting brought down again by what's coming after that. The story behind the title F40.8 is on the first record we had an instrumental too, and it was called 13 Years of Silence. That was based on, when we wrote the song in 2007, started recording, it was 13 years. So that's why it's called 13 Years of Silence. And we had somebody of us, I don't remember who it was, had the idea of whenever there's an instrumental of one of our albums, we put a number in there, like in 13 Years of Silence.
Right.
The number in there so that people know, okay, there's a number in the song title, so it has to be an instrumental. Then I looked it up where the Philosophobia is categorized in this IDC code, in this medical code, and it was under F40.8.
Yes. Yep.
That's why it has that name.
Unbelievable. All right. And, little Easter eggs for the fans out there. That's what that is. What did you get a chance to play? I'm guessing Vic just sent you a file. You didn't get a chance to play with him in the studio?
No, I have met, Vic was playing at Prog Power Europe 2 or 3 years ago with a band called Avandra from Puerto Rico. And I know the singer from Puerto Rico for a while now. And I got in contact with Vic that night, and we talked many hours. Super nice guy.
Yeah.
And then last year we played a festival in Poland with Philosophobia. And Vikram now is the live keyboarder of Pain of Salvation. And he was playing with Pain of Salvation the same day. So we met backstage, and it was super funny and super great guy.
Yeah.
And I just asked him, "Do you want to contribute something?" And he said, "Yeah, sure." So I sent him the song. He recorded it in his home studio, sent it back. It would have been great if he was there in person in the studio.
Right.
It was not possible.
Yeah, but that's one of the things about technology. It does make producing an album a little bit easier for you on the logistics side, right?
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, he's in Redemption for those who don't know, and Redemption is one of my favorite groups. So you're working with high caliber talent right there. So that's fantastic.
Have you listened to Silent Skies?
Yes, Silent Skies, sure, with him and Tom England. Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites right now.
Yeah, those first 2 albums especially. I haven't listened to the third one as much, but I remember the very first one very well, and I think that's how I met him, interviewing about that. And that was it's totally different. There's no drums. It's just piano, a little bit of synth, and Tom, and that's mostly.
You have to listen to the third album because it's different than the first 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit more synthesizers, and it was sometimes a little bit 80s vibe. And there's one song called "The Real Me." You have to listen to that because I was like crying when I heard that.
Oh, really? And it's not a Who cover?
No.
Oh, okay. So, all right, cool. Yeah, no, I think I have it, and I need to just dig it back out. I do love listening to them, though. I think they're great.
But talking about covers, there is one cover version of "Dancing in the Dark" from Bruce Springsteen, and hearing Tom England singing Bruce Springsteen's song in a really slow and moody version gave me chills.
Yeah, there you go. So you're a big Springsteen fan.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So would you ever cover a Springsteen song?
I don't. No, I wouldn't.
Leave it alone. Let other people do it. Yeah. All right. That's cool. And so you said that Philosophobia plays live. What's next on the live circuit for you?
Well, we have just started booking right now for the end of the year. There was supposed to be a festival. We were already booked for that in the south of France in October, but the whole festival was postponed for 1 year because for some reason the guy who owns the location raised the fee for the location so high that they did not have a chance to make it in that location. They tried to find another one, but they were all booked for that weekend. So yeah, that's but we're still trying, not only to play festivals but also to maybe have a support slot on a tour.
Yeah.
But that is still quite difficult because some of the tours that are happening right now are still the ones that were postponed from the pandemic.
Yep. You're not the first musician to tell me that. Yeah, it's still you're still feeling the after effects of that.
Absolutely. And it's really hard to get a support X slot and some tour, but we're also working on that. We got good connections to other bands that are releasing albums at the end of this year or maybe the beginning of next year and going on tour. So yeah, we hope that will happen too.
Excellent. All right. Well, there's so much great stuff on this album, and it is the album. It is the sort of album that where a listener should listen to it a couple of times at least just to get the full effect of it because there's so much happening. But it's wonderful, and I want to tell you, I think you made a great album. I can't wait to see what you do next. But is there, Andreas, is there anything else that you would like to say to anybody who's hearing about Philosophobia right now for the first time?
Well, musical wise, if you're into bands like, let's say Evergrey, Pain of Salvation, maybe Redemption, a little bit Dream Theater, from the guitars, maybe some inspiration from Symphony X also, although I'm not Michael Romeo, that's for sure. Can't play like him. But yeah, he's been an influence for sure. If you are into these kind of bands, you should give us a listen. Listen to the whole album. It's an experience, rather than just picking out single songs.
Mhm.
And now that we spoke about the cover artwork, for me, always, an album is the whole concept must fit together.
Right.
And the cover artwork for me, from the colors, from the moods, the hats themselves, they fit perfectly to what the music is about.
Yeah.
So to the listeners, take your time, look at the cover artwork, listen to the songs, go through the booklet, and I hope they will like it.
All right, excellent. Well, it's been such a pleasure to meet you, and I don't know whenever you might make it to the U.S. I hope we get a chance to see you live, because that would be wild.
Yeah,
And
sure.
yeah, and
The guest list spot is sure for you.
okay, thank
You
you.
will have that.
I
That would be
appreciate that.
great.
I
That would be great to
appreciate that.
tour.
Yeah.
It would be great to tour the US, but it's getting harder and harder with the visa application and the costs and everything.
Yeah,
So as a small band, it's really hard to get into the US.
I understand, but I'll keep my fingers crossed for you. And it's been such a pleasure, and I just want to let you know what a great album I think you have, and
Thank
I
you
hope
very much.
we can stay in touch.
I hope so too. It was great to meet you, and have
Yes.
a great day. And yeah, talk to you soon.
Thank you. Hold on.
Thank you.
Special thanks again to Andreas Ballnus of Philosophobia for joining us here on RadioRadioX. The new album is The Constant Void. It is available worldwide from our brilliant friends at The Laser's Edge. At the top, you heard King of Fools, and during the interview, I played a clip of Will You Remember, and I'm playing it again because it's just so infectious. Be sure to check out Philosophobia.net and Philosophobia on Facebook and socials for more information about the band. Check out Laser's Edge on Bandcamp and laserce.com. Plenty of links on this interview show notes. And as always, make legitimate purchases of the music, merch, and tickets if you're fortunate enough, so that you can support hardworking artists like Andreas and those in Philosophobia. And head on over to RadioRadioX.com for all things music and entertainment. We've got reviews, interviews, and more coverage. I've got an interview with local drumming favorite Jason Bittner of Shadows Fall and Category 7. And another iconic metal drummer, Mark Zonder, formerly of Fate's Warning and now with Warlord and A through Z. And another with powerhouse drummer Sean Duncan of L.A. Guns. I've also got interviews with John Bush, the singer of Category 7 and Armored Saint, and Flotsam and Jetsam guitarist Michael Gilbert, my good friend Robert Meid of Nighthawk, and internationally acclaimed rock singer Ronnie Romero, and more. I'd like to thank Art and Rob and everyone over there at the RadioRadioX headquarters. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and all social channels. And be sure to keep coming back to RadioRadioX.com for more updates. I've got more video interviews on the way as well. I am Justin Smulison, new contributor here at RadioRadioX. Thank you so much for tuning in. There's more on the way.